the algorithm is the way that it is because you can't just get 100% access to, even if you have 13,000 followers, something on the smaller end, you can't just get access to 100% of those people for free anymore.
Jordan, what's happening, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm ecstatic, bro. We got my business partner, longtime friends, Niko Ivanov. Niko he's a true killer. Right?
Ivanov sound like a true killer, bro. That sounds like you finna walk into a room with
bro. Don't cross Nico.
That's what
you gotta make sure you get your content right.
He knows how to close a deal, No.
Well, Nico, no. I mean, Nico's an incredible human being, incredible marketer, incredible kind of leader. He joined Knox shortly after we started the company and has really grown into a critical component, a business partner at that, an owner, co-owner. And I think his role, he's the head of accounts and a partner at NOX. NOX helps artists, brands grow and convert fan bases online by creating and distributing content. So Nico really oversees the head of accounts role. So ensuring that we're executing upon the key initiatives and goals that we got brought in on to begin with all the different clients, whether it's music, brands. So over time, as we've grown, like he's grown into a leader and managing the team and not just managing specific projects. And in this episode, it's awesome because his journey of growth has been incredible. I think he kind of speaks to a lot of the core principles that enable him to operate at such a high level and work with incredible artists and drive a very strong impact. He also manages some artists on the side, Chad Tepper, Gaddo. He's does a fantastic job at balancing a lot, staying calm, cool, collected, and most importantly, effective. So really enjoyed having Nico on, kind of pulling back the curtains, talking through some of the approaches he has from a marketing perspective, from an entrepreneurial perspective, from a managerial leadership, all these different sides of what it takes to kind of succeed in this business as a businessman, as a leader, and do so from a place of fulfillment and enjoyment and service. So really enjoyed it. What stood out to you, Jordan?
Yeah, like you said, I think the most important thing that I kind of learned from it. One, you'll hear this, but I brought up a question that or a conundrum that I brought forward to my life coach, and Nico sort of answered it for me in a way that I think was really, really, really thoughtful. And I'm going to use it moving forward, which is how does he stay calm and collected? So excited for everybody to hear the answer to his question for that. I think he's clearly a man of process, even from the way that he was explaining things. At some point we talked about the 3 pillars of marketing. We talked about the difference between pre-launch, post-launch, and during launch. And then, what marketing can be: paid media, collaborative content, and content optimization. Those were all things I was like, damn, he's got it. He's got it. So it was also cool just hearing about, how you run things at NOX again. I'm sure, we obviously have known each other for a while, but, he's right when he said at the end of the interview that we interviewed, Matthew Legatti a while ago. And clearly since then, there's been a lot of growth just in the way that you all operate. So definitely in terms of, the way that he operates, but also at large, how NOX has leveled up over the past year and a half since that interview is just really great to hear. So,
yeah, for sure. No, it wouldn't be possible without Nico. I think from being an early employee to now having nearly 13 people on our team, it's been pretty crazy, and none of it would be possible without Nico. I'll say that. And on that note, let's dive into this week's episode. Niko Ivanov. Nico, what's happening, brother? How we feeling?
What's going on, guys? I'm feeling great. Happy to be here. Appreciate y'all.
Love it, man. No, excited to have you. I know we collaborate a lot. We've already been on other calls earlier today, so just keep it rolling. Very excited to have you on, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, Jay, it's great to meet you finally. But my good brother, Sam, this is probably our 4th call today. So good to see you, man.
All about the business.
Yeah. That's right.
He's like, this is probably the 4th call today. This is the only call where we didn't close a deal, but we still ride. You know what I mean?
You know me.
It's been fun, man. Well, I would love to hear from your perspective, man, just kind of breaking down what your day-to-day role is at NOX and some of the other stuff you do outside of NOX.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of NOX, obviously, partner and head of accounts, and really what that looks like on a day-to-day is jumping in, clearing out my email, making sure that I have my priorities set for the day. Typically responding to maybe a few client fires to start off. Ideally, we're all set and in order though, and no urgent responses are needed. Go through and check in on all the different timelines for our clients, making sure our key initiatives are buttoned up, that we're feeling good. The team, from the creatives to the digital strategists within Knox, are all set to go. Do those check-ins, and then really start to dive into client calls. Typically, especially once you hit mid to end of week, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we got those back to back to backs. I'm going B2B more than our boy Black Coffee out here sometimes. So, it's a lot of fun and a lot of communication, steady on the phone. And then from there, when you're jumping off calls, communicating with internal teams, making sure, like I said, checking back in. Do we have the creative assets that we need? Are our timelines buttoned up? Are things, moving along for us to hit our deliverables, and just making sure that everyone's feeling good, feeling happy. And then last but not least, just overall business operations, checking in for, bigger initiatives of what we're doing to tighten up systems, and, looking to grow and scale and add to the team, and different things of that nature. So that's kind of what a quick rundown of my day at Knox would be specifically. And then when it comes to the artist management stuff that I'm doing kind of outside of that, really that's more run and gun. That's a little less systemized. That's pretty much just me and kind of making sure that sessions are happening and music's moving along nicely, and making sure if there's contract talks going on that I'm doing my part to keep the ball rolling in every area needed. So from a work perspective, that's kind of what a day in my life looks like.
Yo, it's funny. You were explaining kind of like what you were doing at Knox, and you do a lot of stuff, and that obviously is very in line with being an artist manager. So it's like you can kind of use that experience from what you're doing already at Knox to then pour it over to what you're doing as a manager, and kind of managing a lot at the same time. Which kind of leads me to my next question. Like, as an account manager, as a client manager, what are some of the skill sets that you think are most important for you to succeed in what you do? You said communication was one that I kind of heard. Waking up, making sure the email is done, making sure you know what you're going to do at the start of the day. When did you realize that these were like the most important things? I feel like account management in this situation, a lot of it is learning on the job, because you're learning how to work with clients in your field in a way that's best for them. So what are the skill sets that you feel like developed the most in this role?
Yeah, like you said, without even flat out saying it, communication is the number one. I went to school and studied communication and marketing, and so that skill set's kind of like been there, and something that I knew that I was passionate about. Just grew up, my mom would be like, this kid's a talker. So like to talk, but making sure that communication is very clear and on point. One of the best things that I walked away from from college with was one of my professors was like, hey, ambiguous questions lead to ambiguous answers. And I'm not trying to have any of that going on in this classroom or in any of these assignments. So I really stuck.
He was straight up with you, bro.
Oh,
he was straight up with you.
Absolutely.
He said, look, if you ask a dumb question, you're going to get a dumb answer. And you feel me?
Bro, even one time I wrote a paper and I was like, I wasn't really sure of what you wanted. And he was like, well, that's great, because the prompt I wasn't really sure what I wanted either. He was just like one of those, this dude was on tenure, he was good. We're getting rid of him, no matter what. But I still, like I said, I stuck with that throughout my life and even into the career with Knox. And so communication, making sure that everything that I'm communicating, be it to an internal team, whether it's a quick Slack message, talking to an intern, talking to someone on the creative side, talking to, a fellow account manager, talking to one of my partners, just trying to make sure that communication is extremely clear, especially when it comes to clients. I don't want any confusion in any email, text, call, anything like that, any agenda that we send out, just making sure that communication is clear. So that's first and foremost, live and die by that. A couple other things would be like, I kind of look at client services and account management like customer service, right? Like I grew up serving tables in college, and some of those skills that have developed, on a way, 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 way deeper level doing this is like, hey, being, having that level of anticipation. What is this client going to need? Cool, they've got a shoot coming up. All right, do they got a production run a show? Do they got the days handled? Do they got locations? Do they know what they're shooting? What's even trending right now? Or hey, this is performing really good. I'm going to just reach out and put it on their radar. Hey, you should talk about this, this, and this, or we need to make sure that we're accomplishing these goals because I know you're hyper focused on this right now, but 2-3 weeks down the line, you have this other initiative. Be great to just back pocket some content now, so we have that ready to go and not be in scramble mode when we get there. So that anticipation, that communication, customer service, being really kind. I think excellence communicates care, and at the end of the day, we just care a lot. Knox cares a lot about our clients, what we do. We're very lucky and passionate about what we do. We're lucky to be doing it, and we're passionate about what we're doing. So we just want to make sure that across the board, every skill that we have really just kind of whittles down to super easy, super simple. We care. And so, making sure that you're really, really attentive when it comes to details. Right. And that all, like, it's kind of like one thing feeds into the other. Like you can't be super in the details and not have anticipation, right? Like you have to, if you're anticipating what's going on, it's because you were in the details. If you're doing things at a really high level, it's because you cared. You can't do things at a high level if you're not communicating clearly. So those are some skills that, I've had develop here at Knox. And like you said, it's really just in the field. You just kind of learn it as you go. And I do think that there is kind of an X factor that a great account manager would need. And I'm just thankful to Sam, man. I mean, honestly, Sam taught me a lot about what I know in the account management space. And really like, giving me good tools to like, hey, I would have maybe said it like this, or let's frame it like that. And so it's all in your framing and like rereading your emails. And again, like just being extremely clear and caring a lot, because it, again, like I was saying, one thing feeds into the next. If you don't care, you're not rereading those emails, and so that's kind of what I would say is developed.
I love it, man. And I think, thank you for that. And I think it's great too, to see, because I think you are the epitome of like how much you can really accomplish if that foundation is there. Cause I think like there's as like Knox has continued to scale and the amount of like artists and priorities and initiatives, like without those foundational elements, like you can only go so far. And I think if you, once you cross that line, if you don't have that over communication, that anticipation, that level of service, then like everything starts to break. And I do very much think that like that foundational element, like I think even when you distill client services down, it's like understanding and executing upon key priorities, and then like strong communication, clear communication, not over communicating and under delivering and just, but like, yeah, I love to see that. When you think, and this is, I mean, we've spoken about this in passing in the past, never necessarily like within this context. So I'm excited to hear your answer, but I know like faith plays a massive role in your life. I know you're very involved with your church, do a lot of kind of community organizing and stuff there. How does your faith influence how you operate as a leader and business owner? Because even you're not ever the type of person to like push it down, like, I mean, make it a key thing, but I do know that it does kind of run deep in your operating system as a human being.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'm glad you asked this question because, like you said, I mean, we've talked about it in passing, being business partners for the last, few years, obviously, So, I mean, I'd say it like this, like faith is everything for me. It's the foundational element that is my operating system, right? Everything kind of, like expands from my faith as that core element. I mean, so how do I, use that in business? I mean, it could be the kinds of clients that we work on, the things that I put my name on specifically, and I just want everything that I do and everything that I put my name on and everything that I'm a part of to really reflect that faith. It's funny because living in LA, and even my pastor says this often, is like, people are like, oh, you have good vibes, or like, it's great energy. And it's like, cool. Like, it's just my spirituality. It's my relationship with God that they're picking up on more than like vibes. But like, I think really it dictates how I pursue everything, in the sense of like, at one point in my life, I was pursuing success by means of, finances, stature, accolades, and things of that nature. But I really view success differently now because of my faith. And that success is more like, is what I'm doing validating me as a person. Yes, I am a business partner in Knox. Yes, I am a manager. But even within that, it's like, I want to raise other people up. I want to, teach them how to be good people, and do my best to sow into their dreams and their goals and their aspirations, more than I'm just focused on the bottom line. So validating me as a man, having faith in my competence of like, what, I know that I know what I'm doing. And because I know that I know what I'm doing, I want to do it excellently, because that's what I feel like God is an example of to me, is excellence, and that's like that care again. It's like, I want to be excellent because I want to communicate care. And then, the last thing is like confirmation in my purpose, as like that third success, lever or pillar that I pursue. And that's because of my faith, is like, I want to be in this industry, and I feel called to this industry, be it entertainment and marketing and communicating, because I care about people. And this is definitely an industry that, faith isn't as prevalent in. And so, like you said, it's not like I'm out here on my soapbox, like shoving it down people's throats. Like, I'm not, like, that's weird, but this is just who I am. And so if I have an opportunity to just be kind, to be loving, to, again, Jordan, like I was talking about earlier with your question, like, to communicate at a really high level with anticipation and care and things of that nature. That all boils back down to my faith. And so that's, that's how I function within business and being a business owner. And again, like, I want to open up doors for friends and show people, like, I'm being from Albuquerque, like, showing kids that grew up like me. I grew up with a single mom in not the best area in the world. And I want to show people like me, like, man, if I could do it, you could do it. How did I do it? Well, by way of my faith and hard work and serving other people, because that's what we do at Knox. We're serving these teams, be it a label, a manager, an artist directly, or even, in the brand space, whatever it may be, we're serving other organizations. And I'm just trying to serve other people as well as I can, and be a steward of what I have, and be kind. And like I said, raise other people up, because at the end of the day, like, that is growing our business more than anything else, is being good people. Because again, that kind of just, like, if you're a good person and you care and you're working excellently and you have anticipation and clear communication, it's funny because, like I said, it all just comes back to the basis, which is my faith. So.
Well, damn, yo, that was actually like really beautiful. so I don't know if you said that shit before, like that, but we did record this, and you should memorize that for the next time somebody asks you that question.
I'll just point them to MVP. It'll be like,
there you go.
Music business.
There you go. I was like, damn.
Clip, post on my socials.
Right. Yeah, right. You work at Knox. You know exactly what to do. You know, that shoulder content. But that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I guess, like, kind of going to the business part now, we've kind of covered the intrinsic motivations for you and the skill sets you kind of need to be effective in your business. Now I kind of want to go to what kind of runs your business, which is the marketing tactics, the strategies, that sort of thing. So at a very high level, and then we'll get down to the nitty gritty right after this, because I know that's where Sam shines. At a very high level, what do you feel like are the most important principles to keep in mind when growing a fan base digitally? And then I'll actually ask a part 2 of that question. Which one of those do you think that people forget about the most?
Man, all right. So look, I think at the end of the day, like it comes down to growth, right? We do serve in, we do work in, serve in. See, I'm all services minded. Like we work in an industry that is results based, right? And so, focusing on those key growth levers, like whether that's your like specifically for what we do and how we're trying to grow people across the board is by way of 3 pillars, if you will, and that's like content collaborations, content optimizations, and through paid media, and making sure that we have a very succinct and tight-knit plan across those 3 and how they can feed into one another, and then also specifically tied to an initiative, making sure that we're pressing into having 3 phases of the game. I grew up as an athlete, and it's like, to win championships, my football coach would always be like, we have to be strong in all 3 phases of the game, which was offense, defense, and special teams. Now the 3 phases of the game for us are, tease, launch, and amplification. So I'm like, if we're not buttoned up in all 3 phases of the game within, and that's kind of like more the like nitty gritty, getting a little more granular, then, how can we expect to win? How can you expect to push ticket sales or push a new song or a music video or a new flavor of your beverage or, a grand opening of another location for your gym, whatever it may be? How do you expect to have a thorough marketing plan if all you're focused on is launch assets, or all you're focused on is what you're going to do after the fact? Or even like what we see happen more than anything else is like, probably see a lot in the tease phase. Like people are like really ready to build up hype, and then it's like out, and then like that's it. And so I think, I don't know if that answers your question directly or if that's what you were looking for, but that's what we focus on. And maybe the part 2 of that is, what is forgotten most? Can you ask that second question again?
Yeah. So so I kind of heard like 6 things, 2 trios of concepts. Yeah. So one of them was, teeing it up, the pre-launch, then launch, then post-launch. So the 3 marketing pillars, offense, defense, and special teams. And the other thing that you said, I was trying to take a note. You probably know what it is, Sam, too, because you worked there also. But you were like content collaboration, content optimization, and then I forget the last one.
Yeah, paid media marketing.
Paid media.
I think those are almost like those 3 phases as well, right? That's still your offense, defense,
like parallel, like concurrent phases almost,
Exactly. And I mean, you need to make sure that, like, cool, who am I aligning my brand with? Or, if I'm an artist, who do I have content? Because that's a huge growth lever, is to grow on socials, is to, you're around other tastemakers and influential people. It's that social proof. And so, making sure that you're aligning your projects, initiatives, or yourself with, those kinds of people that can help further the reach and cast that net even wider, is something you got to think about. Optimizations being like, what, a lot of people are posting content, throwing things against the wall consistently, and maybe it's actually not paying off the way that they would hope. And they're putting all of this effort, time, talent, money into things that actually might not be performing that well. So it's critical to take time to step back and analyze, is this working well? And if it is, great, double down, triple down. And whatever's not, scrap it. Just move on. No harm, no foul. Like, I want you to, don't be precious with it. Throw as much as you can against the wall. But after you do that, we do it weekly and monthly for a lot of our clients, weekly kind of at a high level, monthly on a very, very deep level, to make sure that, we're not just spinning our wheels. And if the key is growth, then you have to optimize your content. You have to optimize for what's going to help you grow and get out there as much as you can. Could be simple things like, every time I post a reel of this type of content, I go off. Cool, do more of that. Or it could be like, what? at one point I was posting wide shots and those aren't doing well anymore. Great. Now I need to make sure that my aspect ratios are right and that I'm only going with, 4:5 or 1:1 or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And so that's that content optimization. And then paid media. A lot of people, I think, brands, artists, whatever it may be, sometimes can undermine this. And I'm not saying just throw money at the situation. And I know that Sam could attest to this as well. You need to be very strategic and thought out in how you go about doing this. But at the end of the day, like, these platforms are smart. The algorithm is the way that it is because you can't just get 100% access to, even if you have 13,000 followers, something on the smaller end, you can't just get access to 100% of those people for free anymore. It's like you wouldn't be able to just throw a billboard up on, a hot spot off the 101. It's going to cost you money. Mm-hmm. But if you want to go and put it somewhere in the corner where, maybe 15 people a week are going to see it, then obviously it's going to cost you a lot less. And so making sure that you understand that and that you have a good plan of how to execute on that, I think that matters. And not one piece matters more than the other, in my opinion. You need to do all three at a high level and do it well to really get where you're trying to go.
Right.
Love it. And when you think about like in practice, like who have been some of your favorite like artists to work with and that have grown, that you feel have been able to do some really fun, impactful things from a marketing standpoint and just really in helping serve their career in general?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think some of my favorite clients that we worked with today have been Leslie Grace. Her team is just absolutely incredible. She has a lot of fun things going on. Multifaceted artist, just had huge movie release with In the Heights that's in theaters right now. Great music career and just overall great person. She's really down for the cause. She trusts us a lot. And so that's always a lot of fun when you get to work with a client that's just down and you're like, hey, we want to try this on TikTok. Cool, let's go for it. And obviously it makes it even more fun when they're booming and doing these incredible things. Like, I'm walking through the Grove the other day doing some shopping and I see a bunch of posters of her. I'm like, oh, there's Leslie. That's awesome. Sean Paul has been incredible to work with. One, it's Sean Paul. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean?
Sean
like,
Paul.
Yeah.
Something goes on then. Whatever that means. I was just repeating syllables. I don't even know what I said just then.
I mean, growing up listening to him and then being on calls with him, you're like, yo, this is Sean Paul right now, like listening to our advice. And so that's a lot of fun. But I mean, this man pumps out more music than anyone that I have ever seen. Honestly, this dude is dropping music all the time. And with that, it's been so fun. Like, we have just got him super bought in on TikTok. And now this dude's gaining like over 100,000 followers a week and having so much fun with it. And now we're just getting to do a bunch of fun ideas. He has a great personality. And so like being able to press into the fact that he is a living legend and icon. Yeah. And we're starting to unlock a different level of his personality has been a lot of fun.
I'd love to like press in there too, because I feel like, and I think managers, marketers, a lot of people can attest to this. You mentioned that like Sean is just now really starting to unlock this explosive growth on TikTok. And like, there's a process of getting artist buy-in and excitement that it becomes this filter that will, even the best manager in the world, like if they're not able to get this buy-in from an artist on some vision that they have, or find a way to make sure that they're fully bought in and feel as if it's their own, like you can have the best idea and best strategy that will take you to that place, but like the artist just isn't down and you're just twiddling your thumbs. Like, I mean, Sean Paul, I mean, there's some interesting examples there, but just generally speaking, because that's not the only time, like there's always these like battles, not even battles, but just process of getting people and artists bought in. Like as a manager, as a marketer, like what do you think are some of the best ways that you've seen in inspiring that change so they do really have that like vested interest and excitement to execute upon a strategy? Like, because we could, like, people hear those like 6 pillars and go tell their artists, and their artists like, sick, yeah, peace. But like, so
sick. Yeah, sick.
Bro, when you just did that, my heart just shattered for how many times that's actually happened to my face.
He triggered him, yo.
But look, I mean, look, like you said, there's plenty of examples. I mean, a couple other fun ones have been like, Film and Lee. He's great to work with as well, and has bought in to TikTok. And so to answer the question directly, it's like anything new and out of the ordinary. Like we as marketers or as managers understand that these artists have a lot going on, and so first, like empathizing with that and understanding their schedules, go from whether it's, writing sessions, recording, having to do these interviews, doing music videos, photo shoots. Now all of a sudden, I got to do X amount of content shoots, whatever it may be. Oh, now you want to throw in TikTok, and now I got to do X, Y, and Z. And all I know about TikTok is I see, these dancers that are, doing, and I don't want to do that. Right. And so I think what has really been a great tactic in convincing or selling someone on it is like just giving them facts. And I think it comes from also having a place of credibility with an artist of saying like, look, I understand that you don't want to do this, and that's totally cool, but you got to understand that this app has been the top downloaded app for X amount of months and has this many, billion users, and has broken, you broken this many number one records in the last year, 18 months. And once you kind of start like giving context to the weight that this app carries,
be like, damn, word.
Yeah, you just see those gears turning. Like,
right.
Oh, snap, for real? And then you're like, yeah, I mean, Dogface 420 with the cranberry juice. I mean, all of a sudden, that song was back on the charts for the first time in like 20 years or something crazy. And so, it's reviving legacy acts. It's breaking new acts that you've never even heard of, giving people number ones, all of these different things. So you lay that foundation of context of like, I'm not just here trying to convince you to do this for my health, right? Number two, you come up with like a pretty cool idea or a cool idea. And then number three, it's like, it's funny, this kid, Austin, that works for us, we were on a shoot one time, and one of the clients that we were working with was a little, not really wanting to do this. He didn't want to shoot this location, but Austin had this vision for this location, and he literally just looked at him. Our cars were pulled up and we were like about to park, and Austin was like, bro, just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. And there was like so much, you could tell. I was like, dang, bro, like, like you could see the conviction and like the vision, and like he just was so sold out on it that the client was like, well, dang, bro, when you put it like that, like, let's go. And so I think that's another thing is like, it's got to, if you have to be sold on it, can't be like, let's just get on TikTok for the sake of getting on TikTok. Like, no, come correct with a great idea, give context as to why you want to do it, and then have that level of gusto, that the guts to be like, yo, just give me a chance. I promise you, if we do this and we see the growth that I know that we will, then you're going to be excited. And if we don't, cool, then I won't bring it up again. And so, we've done that, and it's paid off. And then once people see growth, people love numbers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Who doesn't want to see, 6 million views and 300,000 followers? And then people all of a sudden are like, oh, snap. All right, cool. What's good for TikTok this week?
They're like, I'm ready. I'm going to be early for the next call, actually. Dope. Want to do a little segue here. I've been meeting with a life coach recently, and one of the things he told me to do was to think about the people in my life who I admire, people, colleagues that I'm close to, and think about what makes them good leaders, and grab from them some of the traits that you admire. Because we were talking about just how to develop as a leader. Sam, I actually thought of you in that situation too, if I'm being frank. I was like, let me think about what I admire about Sam, the homie who, I feel like we both look up to each other in a lot of ways. But one of the things that I said was that the people that I'm close with that are great leaders can stay so calm and collected throughout turmoil, chaos. It doesn't matter what their day looks like. They still show up to every meeting focused, very calm throughout the day. And Sam told me that he sees a lot of that in you. He said that you're even tempered in very chaotic situations. And I feel like that's also a necessary trait that you need in your role. So I guess my question is, what's your secret? How do you do it?
Yeah, well, first off, Sam, my guy, appreciate you. I think for me, it's pretty simple. I just remember where I came from, man. And I just literally, I tell myself in the most chaotic situations, like, I prayed for this, and I wished that I had this. And so I better not, get too, I better not lose sight of the fact that one day I would have prayed for this. If I would have told myself 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago, that these were the kinds of conversations that I was going to be having. Couple things, like one, Lil Wayne was like, what's a life without pressure? At one point in time, my pressures were, I lost my best friend when I was 18 years old. My football coach, who was my father figure, passed away when I was 15 years old. Before I met Matt and Sam, I was working at Paramount Pictures, having a great time, but I just felt like it wasn't for me. I had a business opportunity. It fell through. Bro, I was back to Ubering and working security in a parking lot, which was basically telling people where they can and cannot park. And so, and that was like in the winter for like 12 hours a day. And then, I got an opportunity to go on a tour, and then, one thing led to another, and I met Matt and Sam. And so that's really the secret for me, is just remembering like where I come from and remembering my why, and understanding that this like hectic moment is not going to shake me enough to break my why and my foundation. And it's not going to break me enough to make me forget. Because again, like I prayed for this at one point, and it's like, do you want to be Ubering right now, dog? Like, shout out to all the Uber drivers. It's not what I'm saying, but I know for me that I did that long enough to know that I don't want to do it again. And so when you start thinking like that, it's like, bro, go into this conversation. I'm like, what's up, guys? Like, let's have a good time. Like, because at the end of the day, here I'm on a call with a client that either is going to blow up and be, the next whoever it is in your mind.
Sean Paul, or they are Sean Paul.
Or they are Sean Paul. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't get stressed out or that it's all sunshine and rainbows. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I can't, allow it to overcome to such a point that it's like, I'm losing my head over it.
Bro, we clipping that shit too, yo. That shit too, yo.
Instagram reel.
Awesome. Yeah. That was an awesome answer, bro. That was awesome. And I needed that, obviously, because I talked to my life coach about how I'm going to start doing that. You know what I mean? So, it's dope. Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
No, for sure. Cut out for a sec. But
okay.
No, I love that, man. I mean, it definitely shows, and it's always great, and it creates for a more enjoyable experience for everybody. One other thing too, just as like an observer, I feel like you're very routine. You have a very strong commitment to personal development, and you also like the fact that despite even some of the craziest weeks, like you're still fucking carving out that time for that 6 a.m. gym session. Like it's counterproductive as it may seem to some, or just it seems like incredibly valuable, because I think the like body, mind, spirit, I mean, being able to really get the body and control over that domain is just going to physiologically like set you up and charge you in a much more just like better mind and physical space. So one other thing I've seen.
Bro, 1000%. I mean, to keep that one short, it's like, I know what it's going to take for Nico to be the best Nico. And if I'm not the best me, then it doesn't matter. Like if I'm not hitting the gym or in my word or spending time with my wife, consistently enough, because those things give me life and recharge me. If I'm not doing those things, then I'm not going to serve the team well. I'm not going to serve the clients well. And so, like you said, like I've definitely had the conversation where it's like, how do you have time for the gym right now? And I'm like, you don't understand. If I don't go to the gym right now, then I'm going to be that much less productive. Like 1 hour in the gym is going to equate to me being a lot nicer and a lot more efficient and smarter, releasing endorphins than, than if I don't do it, then you getting that 1 hour of my time.
Yeah. No,
like
I love that.
Going straight to work.
And
I mean, ruin a mood.
To build upon that, I mean, from a leadership perspective too, like enabling strong performance while still enabling also an enjoyable work experience from the people on your team. Like I know we've created cultural values. I know I've got the hiccups as I try and spit through this question, but when you think about that though, from more of like a leadership perspective, obviously there's some element of like lead by example, but I think there is this interesting balance of like creating peak performance, creating an opportunity where an environment where people are like growing a lot and pushing them up to and through their limits from a growth perspective. But then doing so in a way where it's like, we're also able to like have fun and kick back. Like as a leader, as a manager, what are the things you're intentional about that are able to foster that environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost is like getting to know people and like who they really are, not just from like your resume. So like your resume got you the interview. On the interview, I'm actually like, as we've been on interviews together, Sam, like I'm kind of like looking through like not just your specific answers of, what creates a good, campaign or whatever it may be. But getting to know people's quirks and kind of, whether someone's more of a stoic or outspoken or whatever it may be, and getting to know them specifically. What are your interests? What kind of music do you actually listen to? Like, so that way we can plug and play you on, look, not every single time, but the clients that you are going to be passionate about. If I know someone is super passionate about working on, X client, and then, we need to restructure some staffing, I'm not going to pull them off that one client that they really like love. And so it's different things like that. And then not only getting to know them, but people want to feel like they know you as well. And so empathizing with them, giving them, hey, well, when I first came on at Knox, I went through this same kind of learning opportunity. And so this is what, Sam or Matt had taught me, or this is the experience that I had with this client. And so I want you to learn from my mistake and blah, blah, blah. Like, just painting a picture that comes from a place of like, I want to lead with love. And like, I think love is communicated by obviously your words and actions, but just being like an ear and understanding and who somebody is and making them understand who you are as well. So you can actually like click on that level. Like if somebody needs to go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, or they have it blocked out at 5, like I want to give them that space to be able to be right within themselves. Cause I know for me how it is, like I was just explaining. So I want them to feel that way as well. Like I want you to do the things that are going to make you the best you. So when you show up, you're here fully and like, it's time to go. Because if you don't, like another thing about love is people get it twisted up. I think that love is being direct as well. So I'm going to be straight up honest to you. And I'm going to tell you like, hey, I would rather you not even show up than to show up half-hearted like that. Like you need to roll in here and be on point and be correct. Ask a bunch of questions if you don't know what's going on, because I'm always down to have conversation. But don't come in here, be quiet, not ask questions, do something, do it incorrectly, and then me try to figure out like what is going on. Like, because if you're not asking the questions, I assume you know, but then your performance is showing that you don't know. So where's the disconnect here? And then the other thing is like, I like to tell a lot of jokes. I'm just kind of like, I was kind of like class clown in like high school a bit. I think jokes are I can make myself laugh by just telling myself inside jokes in my mind.
Yo, I do that shit too, but my girl thinks it's so corny. I'll be laughing at myself. She'd be like, "You think you really funny, huh?" I'd be like, "Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Actually,
I do. Yeah. Actually, I do. That's why I'm laughing.
You making yourself happy, man. I'm with that.
Yeah,
and then clip this and show her that. No, I'm kidding. I'd be like, Nico, do it too.
Yeah.
Go out there, do it. As I say to myself, trying to make myself not feel weird. And then I think, bro, like it's important to make people understand that they're valued, not just by you listening, but like I kind of do this thing in Slack every now and then, try not to overdo it because I don't want it to seem inauthentic. So every now and then I'll just go into like, we have a general Slack channel where people are, it's just general combo. Well, I'll just go in there and drop a little paragraph, or, you know, maybe I'll just send Sam a personal text real quick, or I'll hit Alexi with a voice note and just be like, hey, I just want you to know how much I care about you and how valued you are here at Knox, and that we really couldn't do this without you. And, you know, there's no one else I'd rather be in the trenches with, whatever it may be. Like, and that has to be authentic. It has to be real, but it is very important to make those deposits into people, because especially as a leader, we're constantly making withdrawals, right? Hey, let's get this done. Hey, oh, cool, client just called. We got a fire. Like, I'm going to ask you, like, can we set a jam for 7 p.m.? And it's like, dude, 7 p.m. Like, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? And so you're constantly making these withdrawals, but I don't want to overdraft and burn somebody out. Mm-hmm. And there's only a few ways that I can actually make deposits in somebody that lives in New York, that I see, you know, once or twice, maybe 3 times a year if I'm lucky. And that's with my words and with my actions. And so I need to make sure that my actions are leading with love, and that my words are also reflecting that from time to time, because I know what it's like to get a little note like, hey, man, just checking in on you. Hope you're good. Love you. You're a legend. Da, 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 da. You're like, man, that's awesome. So I think that's a really big thing for me. I think it's super necessary to do as a leader, because it boosts people up. Everyone loves to get a little note. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I was saying I like those notes. For the record, those are a nice touch. I appreciate those. Yeah. Yeah. I might send y'all a note later today.
Right. He's taking out his phone, drafting one for us right now.
Yeah.
Gordon gets a note.
Mid-interview, bro. You're killing this interview, bro.
He's like, bro, I just appreciate you so much, bro.
Great question. You crushed.
You're really good at this, man. You growing so much, Jordan.
Oh, that's funny.
No, man. But thanks so much for taking the time, Nico. I mean, like, you know, going into this interview, Sam obviously knew you very closely and knows you very closely, but I'm glad that I get a glimpse of your value sets and the skill sets you developed, and kind of what makes you tick as a person. Because honestly, a lot of it was inspiring, and I'm sure our audience will think that too. So really appreciate it.
Man, thank you so much for those words. It's been cool, like, to see what y'all have done with the Music Business Podcast. Obviously, a huge fan, avid listener, and I'm just excited to be here. I was like wondering in the back of my mind after a while, I was like, dang, Sam, it's been like 2.5 years. You had Legati on this like so long ago. When am I going to get a shot? No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah.
But thank you guys for having me on, and excited to watch you guys continue to grow and do your thing.
Likewise, brother. All right, man. To see you in our next Zoom.
I think we got a 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Man. Thank you.
Peace.
Damn, well, I really enjoyed that interview, man. Nico's a brother, a friend, partner. Super grateful to have had him on, and to, obviously work with him a lot, but to just kind of take a step back and just kind of really dive into the deeper elements of him as a person, as a leader, and understand some of these frameworks. I think it's really powerful and really helpful for you guys. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said during the interview, bro, we got clips, man. We got some clips. So there were a lot of bite-sized moments that I think we'll be able to repurpose because they were just so on point. You know, him talking about his journey specifically, and how he reminds himself whenever he's in moments of turmoil that this is what he wanted. I also think it's funny that he said, no disrespect to Uber drivers. And he said, shout out Uber drivers, which is the first time that sentence has been said on the podcast. But he was just being thoughtful. So just super glad to have him on and just to learn from him and to hear what you guys been up to and how you all operate. But Nico is clearly a boss. So very, very glad to have him on.
That's right. Well, appreciate you all for tuning in as always. We'll be back next week, but until then, we out.
Damn, I thought you was finna say appreciate you. but then you said all right after a second. But
appreciate all y'all. Yeah. And now we actually got to wrap it because now we just we keep it in the outtakes this week. But all right, we actually out. Peace.